countries, cities, towns, some organized by popular movements. Now, not all countries participated. In the United States, the U.S. Congress did impose sanctions over Reagan's veto, but U.S. trade with South Africa then increased by various evasions, along with concealed support for South African terrorist atrocities in Mozambique and Angola, which took a horrendous toll. It's about 1.5 million killed and over $60 billion in damage during the Reagan years of constructive engagement, according to a UN analysis. In 1988, the Reagan administration declared Mandela's African National Congress to be one of the world's most notorious terrorist groups. It's 1988. While it described Renamo in Mozambique merely as an indigenous insurgent group. That was after it had just killed about 100,000 people, according to the State Department, with, of course, U.S.-backed African support. Thatcher's record was similar, or maybe worse, but most of this was in secret. There was just too much popular opposition. And the popular opposition made a difference. There was a very significant anti-apartheid movement decades after the global decision at the Security Council to bring apartheid to an end. In 1965, boycotts and other measures would not have been effective. 20 years later, they were effective, but that was after the groundwork had been laid by activist, educational, and organizing efforts, including within the powerful states, which is what matters in an ugly world. Well, in the case of Israel-Palestine, the groundwork has not been laid. The quotes that I just gave are perfectly representative examples. You can fill them out in books. The kind of popular measures that were effective against apartheid by the late 1980s are not only ineffective in the case of Israel-Palestine today, but in fact sometimes backfire, harming the victims. We've seen that over and over. It's going to continue until the organizing and educational efforts make real progress. It's not just the United States. The European Union is hardly different. So, for example, the European Union does not bar arms deliveries to Israel. It joined the United States in vicious punishment of Palestinians because they committed the grave crime of voting the wrong way in a free election. And there was very little internal protest in Europe. Populations support the international consensus, but they don't react when their governments undermine any hope for its realization. Well, in the coming weeks and the longer term, there's plenty of educational and organizational activity that will have to be carried out among an American population that happens to be largely receptive, though deluged with propaganda and deceit. And it's not going to be easy. It's never been easy, but much harder tasks have been accomplished with dedicated and persistent effort.
MIT professor Noam Chomsky speaking recently in Boston at a conference called The Apartheid Paradigm in Palestine-Israel, sponsored by the Palestinian Christian organization Sabeel. If you'd like a copy of today's show, you can go to our website at democracynow.org.